So I'm in the woods in Longview behind Mod Cobb, and it felt like a good time for a story. When I was 13 or 14, my friends, my brother, and I decided to set forth to build a massive treehouse. We picked out a spot in the woods, we got hatchets and machetes, and we began to cut beams. My older brother was always the one that would climb up the tree and do the daring acrobatic work. And so Lance climbed the tree and set up the pulleys and the ropes and all that. And we stood on the ground and were the dead weight to lift the beams into place. And so he had all his tools and all his things up there. And we were watching from the ground and, looking up at him. And he was, getting ready, but he hadn't nailed anything. So we're watching, and suddenly he begins to do something strange. From where we're standing, it looks like he's undoing his pants. Now, he's 30 feet in the air. And, so I called out, "Lance, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm taking my pants off." I guess the mood struck him or something, and he decided he was going to take his pants off. He's a man of few words, and so it took us a few minutes to realize what he was doing. But apparently, he needed to nail this beam into the tree, but he didn't have enough hands to do it. So he needed to tie himself to the trunk of the tree. But unfortunately, all the rope was being used to lift the beams up into the air. So he decided that he would take his pants off and use them to tie himself to the tree. It was pretty brilliant, really. So he began to nail with himself tied by way of pants, nailed the beam in with these big, long nails. It looked very secure. And we just, we were watching from the ground, sort of not the best view, man in his underwear 30 feet above you. But in any case, he finished up, and the sun was starting to set, and so we decided, hey, I think it's probably time to get on home. So he began to drop tools. Now, when the person above starts dropping tools, you want to watch out, because a hammer to the head make you talk in riddles for the rest of your life. So, we dodged the tools falling, and we were hoping he was planning to put his pants back on. And so as we watched, he sort of started looking around the tree where he'd nailed the beam in, and was trying to free his pants from the tree, and he realized that he had nailed his pants into the tree. His pants were securely nailed between the beam and the tree. So he could either rip them in half, he could take the beam down, which was out of the question, or he could come down with no pants on, and we could just go back to Josh's house with him half naked. So being a man that was not easily embarrassed, he climbed down in his underwear, and we walked back to Josh's house with him half naked. And that's a weird one to explain, but we've laughed about it many times over the years since then. As I've thought about that story over the years, I've used it to illustrate a number of things, but I think the best illustration that story connects to happened to me just recently. I was reading one of the parables of Jesus, and he talks about this story where a man comes into a feast, a wedding feast, and is not wearing the proper attire. And so it sort of made me think of my brother's situation, imagining walking into a fancy dinner and not having pants or the right clothing. And so I'll put that up on the website so that you can see that. So that's my story for the day. Maybe a little bit bizarre, but hope you enjoyed it. Check out simplybelief.com, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.